Hi there, everyone. This is Mark Crilly. I'm doing a kind of an unusual video here today because it's going to be debuted simultaneously on YouTube and the Dark Horse blog, which is over at darkhorse.com/blog. And so special thanks to Dark Horse for shining the spotlight on my work today. What I'm going to be showing you is how I go from rough pencils, which is what you see here, to final inks. And the first thing that I do is start tightening up the pencils. You can see this is really quite loose, very tentative. This is what I'm showing to my editor at Dark Horse, giving them a chance to request changes and so forth before I go to final. And now, as I prepare to go to final inks, I am pulling out the pencil to sort of tighten things up in preparation. I think a lot of people who do pencils, professional comic book pencils, do their pencils much more tightly than I do. That's probably because most of the time someone else is going to be inking it, and if you don't show them exactly what you want, they can't really sort of use their imaginations to know how to complete this drawing. But if you are doing both the pencils and the inks, well, in my case anyway, I leave the pencils pretty loose right up until I get the green light to go to finals. And so as I go in here, I'm just sort of touching things up, giving myself a sense of where the ink is going to go. I should say, for those of you who are not aware of what my project is, it's called Brody's Ghost. It's a 6-part graphic novel series. It's set in the future. The main character is a young man named Brody, and I don't think it's giving away too much to say that this female character here, named Talia, is a ghost, and he encounters her pretty early on in the first book, and the whole story kind of spins onward from there. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's set in this futuristic location, has kind of a Blade Runner-like feel to it. Everything's all run down and gritty. And a lot of the fun of the series, I think, comes from the interaction between these two characters, Talia, who's pretty spunky and just a real straight shooter. She says whatever comes to her mind. And Brody, who begins the story in this very kind of dejected state. He's been dumped by his girlfriend. His apartment is all messy, and his hair's long, and he stopped shaving, and so he has nowhere to go from here but up. And I kind of did that on purpose. I wanted to see, let's see if we can take this guy who looks like a real loser, and little by little turn him into something of a hero. What I can tell you about this one particular panel that I'm going to be inking here today is that Talia has had this conversation with Brody. She's very near the end of it. I don't want to give away too much, but she's kind of reached this very contemplative moment where she seems to have kind of come to terms with something, and that's why her eyes look kind of relaxed here. I've noticed lately that where the iris fits into the upper eyelash is so crucial for showing the degree to which someone is relaxed or not. And having this eyelash coming down, partially obscuring the top of the iris, gives her this kind of relaxed, contemplative look that I'm going for. Well, I'm almost ready to go to the final inks, and I think to keep this video short and to save you people from hearing me talk anymore, because I know I can tend to go on and on and on about my work ad nauseum. I'm going to do the inking in time-lapse, but let me just sort of tell you quickly the inking tools that I use. This one here for the thick lines is a Pigma Micron 08. For the thinner lines, same company, but it's an 03. Sometimes I'll even go all the way down to 02. And like I said, I'm going to do this in time-lapse, but I'll come back to maybe tell you a little bit about my technique after I've finished. art from the first book, Brody's Ghost Book 1. This is for Book 2, which will be coming out in the winter. Show you the roughs followed by the finals, and you can kind of see how much it changes. Now, I got to tell you, I use Photoshop to add tone, gray tone. So on top of the pencils going to ink, you're also going to see kind of magically the gray tones come in to finish things off. I'd love to tell you more about Photoshop, but I have to save that for another video. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me show you a little slideshow of rough versus final art, and I'll be back to say a final word or two before we end the video. Alright, well, I hope you found that interesting, seeing the process going from rough to final art. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank everyone who has bought Brody's Ghost. I really do appreciate you getting the book, and I love hearing your thoughts on it. You can reach me over at twitter.com/MarkCrilley, and who knows, maybe Dark Horse will let me do another one of these videos sometime soon. Until then, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. Thanks in advance to anyone who gets the book. I really deeply appreciate your support.